darker colored hands holding what looks to be a scroll with some language on it. And I'm going to be honest, that doesn't look like Kirth and that doesn't look like Elvish. So Tengwar teacher, if you want to
Yeah.
teach us any thoughts on this?
So I think this is most likely a Hobbit race or a Hobbit, possibly. This is probably a a pictograph type language that is not commonly used. At least there is no basis for or textbook knowledge of this picture language that I'm aware of. So I'm not sure exactly where the show creators are pulling this from or going with it. That would be interesting to see if they can tie it into something that has been uh, that we can relate to language wise. Just looking at it, it really looks. Um, it just looks like what you would expect, almost like a hieroglyph to look like in our common world that we would be, more like just picture language, not really any type of script to it or any type of reasoning. It probably is combined symbols that represent like a meaning or a phrase, together. So
I
that's my thought.
I love it.
Yeah, that was my
I
that was my impression too, that it's a pictograph language probably used by the hobbits before they enter.
It's cool. I wasn't one of the people like super advocating for people of color to be in it. I'm happy that they're in it, but it's it's in the writing. There are darker skinned hobbits. Um, so I'm super excited that they're showing them. If they're going off of lore and everything like that, there's a few different types of hobbits, just like the men with the stores, the Harfoots. If I'm saying that right.
yeah,
And
Harfoots.
Mhm.
and another one, the Harfoots are the ones. This would be them, just like Chris said. So if we're going up with a pictograph language, most languages start like that. So if the hobbits are being introduced at this time, they would start off with a language more pictography, just sort of like hieroglyphic-y than actual
Primitive
written language.
hobbits.
Primitive hobbits, exactly. So then, very similar to the men of Rohan, they actually come from around the same place. Where Rovanian, the Vales of Anduin, where east of Mirkwood, they all start there and they move west over across. Takes a while for any peoples, even the Easterlings. It took them a while to get over. Now I'm talking about the Easterlings before the Easterlings in the first age. It took them forever to get to Beleriand. That's why they came much later than the Edain. So it would not surprise me that it takes the hobbits a while to get east over the Misty Mountains, west over the Misty Mountains, and then we have them coming into Eriador, and then they actually do. I know this was a thing earlier. They were saying whether the hobbits were involved in the wars, but they actually were involved in the war against the Witch King, a small part of it, and they get gifted land, which is known as Cardolan. It actually gets gifted to them by the king of uh, Arnor. So that's where Hobbiton and all the Shire and stuff come from. So to see the beginnings of those people it would be awesome if they're starting with one of the Harfoots or the stores, to see the stores by the river, like it says. This is all canon stuff. So people have been getting upset about that. Speaking on the color thing, it does say that. It's part of the description. So it's nothing to get upset about. It is canon. And possibly we'll even see the other the third group of hobbits, and these people existed and in some fashion. Now they weren't the hobbits as you know them, but these are the beginnings of the people. Just like with like I said, the men that will eventually become the Rohirrim. They have beginnings and they're different there, and they have like some things that you'll recognize, but other things you'll be like, who are these guys? And then we'll come to find out, as I'm sure as the series progresses, oh, these are the people that eventually become these people. And that's what I think is going on with the hobbits. And yeah, because even if you look back to the story of Gollum, where he's talking about in the Two Towers, he's describing things far in the past that he learned from his family about the men from Gondor, the men from the sea and the tall men. And this, he knew of these things. And this is before they went west over the mountains. So
Mhm.
his history and lore that he knows is actually much different from the history Bilbo and them knows, but they have the common riddles and things in common because they do share common ancestors. So